So this is probably one of the more risky parts to this whole methanol conversion. I'm sumping this tank. It is a new tank, but it has been in the car for, well, I don't know, probably a couple years now. I flushed it outside, filled it up with soapy water, ran it through a few times. You do still smell just a hint of gasoline, which any tank you've had in service, you're never going to get all the gasoline smell out of it. This thing's got a little bit of soapy residue still left in it, but like I said, I ran water out there for, I don't know, probably 15 minutes flushing it through. I actually took it out 2 or 3 days ago, let it sit outside, got rained on, rained in, took the sending unit out, left the cap off, just kind of let it vent outside and get as much of that old vapor out as you can, and then definitely flush it multiple times. I'm gonna go ahead and prep this for the sump. Some guys would say to cut out the whole sump area. I don't do that. I actually take a hole saw and I will cut, probably in this one I'll cut 3 holes, 2 in the back, one kind of towards the discharge, kind of in the middle. I leave the back solid, so when it's in the car and you're accelerating, this whole part of the tank kind of acts as like a anti-climb back baffle, forces fuel through the sump instead of climbing up the back of the tank. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock the holes in this thing. I'll bring you back and show you a little video before I start grinding on it and get it ready for weld prep. So this is the start. Okay, hole sawing is done and I'm geared up, ready to weld. I got my welder on, that's the noise you hear. This is the test before I put my face over it and start welding. Highly unscientific, but it does make me feel just a little bit better before I set up over the tank. I know you're gonna think that's funny. The tank in that Malibu sitting right there blew up, hit me in the helmet, about knocked me on my ass. Jumped up off the table, left a big scorch mark on it, and I had a Ford tractor tank do the same thing to me 2 or 3 years later. So as long as you leave the tank open, the sending unit's out of it, the holes are in it, the cap's off of it, it's a risk, but you wash it out, soap it up, rinse it out, do it again, you can mitigate your risk. Or you can buy a brand new tank and wash it out and proceed with less risk. But on these newer tanks that have a semi-decent coating still on them, I haven't had any issues. But the tanks that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, welding them 3/4 of the way full of water is probably the safer way to do it. But yeah, not in this case. So anyway, torch test passed, welder's on. I'm gonna tack the sump on, and then I'm gonna drill a hole in it, because I always put a drain in my sumps. You could obviously just leave one of these open and drain it, but then you're trying to drain 90 degrees and catch it. You put a sump drain in it, it's easy. When I swap it over to gas, I just pull that fitting out, drain it right into a can. It's a lot less mess, and it's pretty easy to do with these sumps. So we're gonna get rolling. Before I get started, here's a little shot of it. Obviously, I mentioned the hole saw. It says in the instructions to do 6 of those holes. I feel that's pretty excessive, and I like keeping the back of it solid. Prevents it from climbing up the back of the tank under acceleration. So that's how I do it. Lay the sump on, obviously, kind of knock your coating off as best you can without going crazy. These tanks are pretty thin, so I will get all my corners tacked down. Then I will lay down that section into the groove in the tank, and the same thing up in the top. And yeah, you'll see it as it starts to go together. There we go, tungsten grinding time. Nice little booger on it. Ta-da! Seconds. Works great. I try not to get it super fine, but leave just a little bitty flat spot on the end. Helps kind of stabilize that arc. Okay, so this is what we got going. She's tacked down. Use a little ball peen hammer to flatten her down into the recesses of the tank. Those are all my high spots, so I've got to work this area down into that little recess in the tank. I'll get this corner tacked up. Then we'll be ready to really get going. We're in the home stretch now, boys. Okay, so here's the difference in being a little cleaner on my arc length. Yeah, it's not perfect. I'm not trying to make this thing a roll cage. I'm just trying to make it fuel tight. So this corner, I kind of fought it a little bit. The sump started to lift up on me. I should have stopped and pounded it back down, but I just blew through it, added a little extra filler. Same thing happened to me right here. It'll kind of warp up on you as you're welding along. So just occasionally stop, tap it back down, or just blast on through it like I did. So, but yeah, good example right here. Just a technique on how you're feeding your wire. I had my torch here, working this way, dabbing in front as I went. Here on parts of it, I was trying to run up the seam and dabbing kind of right at my torch or a little behind, and it kind of screws you up. So just do what you have to do to get yourself in a good position. You always want to be pushing, kind of chasing your filler. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm just gonna push up from here and have my filler on this side, kind of leading my arc. So we'll see if it turns out better. It should. So here we are with our leak test. As you can see, I got a couple of little spots there. I'll just burn that section back in. The sump, on the other hand, looks good. There is a little drip back there, but that's coming out of the filler neck right at the cap. So basically what I do is I just fill this baby absolutely to the brim. There you go. And let it sit. I'm gonna do the oil change on my truck. I'll look at it again. Sorry it's not focusing the best, but no leaks so far other than that one little fitting for the return. So that's an easy fix.